The Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
1490 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz, and you're listening to the Financial Survival Network, which is brought to you by Miles Franklin. They've been in business selling gold and silver for over 20 years, and I'm a customer because when you buy, they ship. For more information, find them on the web at milesfranklin.com or give them a call at 800-822-8080 and get a free quote. Hi there, it's Carrie Lutz. Today, live on the radio show, I had the Silver Futurist and Jackie O talking about the economy, the monetary system, and the best way to acquire silver and gold. So here it is now. Enjoy the interview.
From the taxpayers to the banks, it was so absurd to me. It blew my mind. So I really looked deeper, and I saw there actually were people who were warning of this crisis for years beforehand. And that really got me into looking deeper. And then I found my way into YouTube, and I saw videos of people making videos. A lot of them were regular people, amateurs, making videos. And there was good information. I said, hey, I could do that also. So I started making my own videos.
I understand. I used to read the Wall Street Journal. I mean, I still do read articles. They have some decent writing, especially when you look today. But you felt like you were kind of taken advantage of when the whole crisis hit, that people who did see it coming. Obviously, did you feel there was a conspiracy afoot, I guess is what I'm asking, or what were you feeling when you saw the collapse occur?
I was feeling there was some kind of conspiracy. Now, I did feel robbed because I looked deeper at gold and silver, and I said, wait a second, $5 silver, $240 gold, like 2000, 2001. Now the prices were in 2008, it had hit 21 back to 8 for silver. I said, wait a second, how come I never saw the price for silver and gold published, right? I always saw the Dow, I saw all these numbers published, but I never saw gold and silver. Here's the biggest bull market of the decade, yet, and that you don't even see these numbers when you look at the financial demographics or whatever.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I think Ranting Andy Hoffman, a regular guest at Financial Survival Network, says this is the most hated, unloved bull market in history. I think it's important to look at the reasons why, and the reasons why is what's good for gold and silver are bad for fiat currencies, bad for the economic ruling elite, and they know it. So you thinking that the latest takedown is part of their scheme?
Well, nothing moves in a straight line, and I don't think that when you have like a market as big as gold and silver that's thousands of years old, I don't think that there's like a permanent manipulation. I think that things eventually will find the right price. So I see it kind of like as a journey. And I know people who bought last year probably feel robbed because, you know, when it's in the 40s and now it's like at 28 or so, like I guess around 28 or so, it does feel like you're robbed. But nothing moves in a straight line. Look at the 70s, right? In the 70s, look at the path of gold and silver. Like in the mid-70s, silver had a run similar to what we had now. And then for several years, it did nothing. It was going sideways down. And then all of a sudden, 1980, that thing just went really, really, really high up. So it might be discouraging for people who bought last year. But look at the big picture. Has anything changed in the last few months of last year? I think things have gotten worse.
This is part of the...
Go ahead, Jackie.
Introduce myself. I'm Jackie O, and my YouTube is Jackie O channel, and I was inspired by Silver Futurist. I started watching videos, and he popped up, and then came Max Kaiser, crashed JP Morgan, and I felt, like I really wanted to do something and try and help, awaken people, and so we did that. And I really don't want to crash JP Morgan because they run the benefit card, the electronic benefit card, the food stamp program, and then that would be a lot of people without food. And I don't know, but they also might be offsetting, if they are manipulating silver. I don't know how much that they do drive the price down, but we don't hear them talk about their commodities desks. They're doing the corn, the sugar, the wheat, the soy, and they're driving food inflation just like Goldman Sachs, the GSCI. We don't hear of that very much. So they might be offsetting the two. To what degree, I don't know. But JP Morgan does this anyway. So back to...
Yeah, well, that's a great point here, Jackie. It's that we really don't want this economic system to just cease existing one day, because we
Right.
will have mass chaos.
Right.
We will have civil unrest, every other societal ill that you can imagine, because who's going to pay the cops? Who's going to pay the firemen? And I'm all for self-reliance, but I don't think you want to be sitting on your stoop every night, like in the Wild West, with a shotgun,
Right.
fending off the ne'er-do-wells. So somewhere there has to be a transition. And what I hope and pray for every night when I go to sleep, and it's not an exaggeration, and if you're offended, if you're listening and you're an atheist and offended by the word prayer, I'm sorry, but I mean it in the hopeful sense. And that is that somehow our leaders will come to their senses, and somehow there will be an acceptance that the current system is unsustainable, and that we need a global economic reset based on gold and silver, and they'll get together and do it. The problem is that government always likes to manipulate the monetary system, because what can they do? Once they're in control of the monetary reins, they can reward their friends, punish their enemies, and crony capitalism, by elections, and that's the pattern that we've seen in the U.S. But hey, crashing J.P. Morgan, they don't need any help from us.
No.
They're doing great on their own, and eventually them, like every other organization that's so organized in the world, is going to run into major problems, and we can only hope that a system emerges quickly from their ashes. And so Jackie, so you got into doing YouTubes, and how many have you done so far?
Oh, my YouTube channel is not quite so large. I think I have 15 videos, and I've done probably even more with Silver Futurist. We do some videos
Sure.
together, but I just felt like I wanted to participate in the awakening and the investigation. It's an ongoing investigation as to what's going on, because like Joe said, the people who bought silver last year at a higher price, they might not be doing so well right at the moment, but you have to do your own due diligence. So watch everything, investigate. For me, I think it's a longer term picture. It's not just the immediacy, but something interesting. I was talking to a few friends over the weekend. One friend bought a house in Orange County. She paid $374,000. Now on Zillow, however accurate they are, it's $250,000. So she's lost $125,000 and still will not listen about silver. So you have this.
Well, real estate always goes up, doesn't it?
And
Sure. I bought
hyperinflation, it
some
does.
Facebook yesterday. No.
Yeah, Facebook always goes up too, right? Yeah, well, I was going to mention Facebook in a little bit, but good point here. And the thing to do is to make people understand, yes, you might do very well in metals, because if the fiat currencies cease to exist one day, you will have the only money. Although the commodities then take on the role of money, of barter and other things of value, just like in prisons before the PC crowd took them over and forced all those convicts to stop smoking. The monetary system inside prisons was cigarettes, and you got things from other inmates by trading cigarettes. I don't know what they're trading now. For all I know, they might be trading gold and silver in prisons, and they might have a better monetary system than we do now. But the point here is that it's an insurance policy, first and foremost. An insurance policy against financial chaos, against collapse, political instability, all those things. And, people who bought it at $40, I would never say put all your money into a commodity, an investment all at once, because you're guaranteed that thing is going to go down. It seems, for me anyway, to be a law of nature. So you're always better off spreading out your investment, doing it at a periodic interval, monthly, quarterly, whatever, and at a set amount so that the emotion is gone. But the key here is it's an insurance policy first and foremost, and it's an insurance policy that will protect you and your family in the event of monetary collapse, or shall we say, perhaps disruptions. Maybe that's the better word. And you'll be able to purchase vital things that your family needs in the times where it really hits the fan and the monetary system has disappeared. So looking at it as an insurance policy, well, you bought auto insurance last year and you didn't get into an accident. Did you get ripped off because you bought the insurance? No. All right. You bought insurance on your home, against flood and fire. You didn't have a flood or a fire. Did you get ripped off? The answer is no. So when we look at it as insurance, and we have physical always put aside in a safe place wherever that might be, preferably not in your home, because then you're susceptible to all sorts of other evils. But when you've got an insurance policy that you can't go sell right away, that you can sit through periods of booms and busts, it makes you feel a lot more secure, doesn't it?
Yes, and I do want to say about the physical, because if you buy like SLV or other forms of derivatives of silver, you're making a trade, right? You're betting the price of silver goes up. You don't actually hold the silver in your hand, but you're making a bet on the price movement. Now that can work out if you're making a trade, but if your goal is to actually have like the insurance, then obviously you want to control it. You want to either have it in your hands or have it in a place that you control the place where it resides, and that's kind of the philosophy behind having the insurance.
And we don't know when the next MF Global scenario would happen, so that if you have your paper with a broker, that what's to say that that scenario wouldn't happen again, and we just don't know when.
Oh, it's going to happen again. And the reason I know it's going to happen again is under these normal situations of an MF Global. And if you don't remember MF Global, that was John F. Corzine, former U.S. Senator, governor of New Jersey, his group that went belly up, and they happened to, quote unquote, borrow $1.6 billion worth of client funds to pay for their bad bets. And the fact is that ordinarily in that situation, the exchange would normally step in and make everybody whole, because it's a real undermining event. It undermines the faith in the exchange and in the financial system. The fact that they didn't make good should tell you that this is the tip of the iceberg. They're expecting a lot more, and they didn't want to establish a precedent. As it is, they kicked in $300 million, but they could have made good on the entire amount. They didn't do it. So physical is definitely where it's at. And Joe, you got some interesting ways of getting physical silver. You go to a lot of estate sales, things like that. Tell us about that.
Yes, I've done the normal shopping online for bullion, but I've also gone to estate sales and auctions where you can get silverware, scrap silver, and so forth. And it's a very fascinating process to look for deals, because not everybody who sells sterling knows what the spot price is. And some of these things, for example, a lot of the old sterling, like compotes, they have some cement in them. So you have an object, you weigh it, and you're not sure what percent is sterling and what percent is just weight on the bottom. So that's where you have to kind of take a guess and try and use your knowledge of previous things that look like that. And sometimes you can get silver at half a spot price if you're lucky. Other times you might overpay, but it's a very interesting way to see another side of the silver market.
So you've gotten some real deals that way, haven't you?
I have. I've gotten some real deals. However, I haven't gone recently because the awareness of silver is so much higher. It's a lot harder to get deals. A few years ago, there are deals everywhere. The deals are getting scarcer and scarcer as the level of knowledge of silver goes up. Now, we had the silver price go down last year, but the awareness of silver is increasing and the interest is increasing. That tells me that's very bullish, because if more people are aware of it, they're just waiting for the price. At the Hard Assets Conference that I was at with Carrie and Jack Yo, we were talking to people, and while many people right there were kind of temporarily big on the dollar, they're saying, "Oh, the dollar's going to rally." Silver, we like silver, but they look at the price, right? If you ask them, at what price would you go all in at silver? They would say, if silver falls this much, I'm buying silver with both hands. So they all like silver. For them, it's a matter of price entry point. But do we know where the price is going tomorrow? But we have a feeling where it's going to be in 5 years or less. So really, if you want, you can try and trade the metal, or you can say, I'm going to buy some and not try and be a gambler and try and gamble the right timing of it.
Great point there. So coming up, we're going to talk about how you buy silver and some other interesting techniques to make sure that should the money supply cease to exist, should your ATM card not work tomorrow, and you go to the gas station and you stick your credit card in the pump and it says, sorry, we're experiencing technical difficulties, you'll have a way to deal with it. So it's Kerry Lutz, Financial Survival Network, 1490 WGCH. 1490 WGCH. This is Kerry Lutz, and you're listening to the Financial Survival Network. We are back with Jackie O and Joe, Silver Futurist, and we're talking about how you protect your wealth. Joe just raised a great point that you're not buying this stuff for return, you're buying it to protect wealth. And on that note, just what I was saying is that I bought gold for the first time in 1999, just had an opportunity and I had some money that I didn't need, and I bought it for $282 an ounce. So today, looking at the price, I think we're around $15.80 something. It was down a lot more earlier in the day after the elitist raid. Now it's at about $15.8850. Take it back. It's gone down to about $15.85. Don't watch the price of gold. It will drive you nuts. Don't watch the price of any stock on the ticker unless you're a trader. Don't do it. It's a sure one-way ticket to the nut house. But point being that even if you didn't buy it for a return, you got a return. And it's gone up every year for the past 11 years except one silver. Gold's up every year. So point being that even though I bought it as an insurance policy because I had the opportunity, I always was interested in it, I said, you know what? You never know what's going to happen. Right now, 1999, the economy's booming. Everything looks great. I'll just buy it and lock it away and forget about it every so often, dust it off and look at it because they're pretty. And it worked out. But you're not really doing this to get a return, right, Joe?
Exactly. The concept is you buy an ounce of silver, you always have that ounce of silver until you sell it or trade it or whatnot. We were talking about this Facebook IPO, and we were remarking how it's down again. I think this is the end of an era. I think the Netscape IPO was the start of an era in the 90s. This is the huge internet, you get rich quick scheme with the internet stocks. I think this Facebook going down is the end of an era. It's signaling to the regular investor that you're not going to get rich. You're not going to get rich in a scheme. And in fact, you're not going. If you want a rate of return, you're lucky to get a return of your investment. I think when the investors start wising up about the real situation of our economy, they're going to be thinking, well, I just want to preserve my wealth. And what's been working for the last decade? What has gone up every year for the last 11 years? Gold's gone up for the last 11 years. I mean, before, I think the last few years, people are saying, well, I want a rate of return. I talk to my friends and family, I want a rate of return. Well, where's it going to come from? Facebook? Well, what's happened to Facebook? I mean, where are you going to put it in the bank? Look at the inflation rate versus the interest rate. You're getting a measly, tiny fraction of interest, and yet the inflation rate is bigger than that. So you're losing money by putting it in the bank. Where can you possibly put your money? Well, for 11 years, there was a place, or two places actually, gold and silver.
Absolutely. 11 years ago, price of silver was around $4 or $5. Now, silver is supposedly in this bear market, and it's still upwards around $28, right, hovering around there. Even though gold is down today, silver is up. Another extremely bullish signal. There was a bullish signal that came out yesterday. Gold was getting slammed all day, and it closed up 30 cents. That is a hugely bullish signal that we haven't seen since the end of February. And the point being that, look, everybody's situation is different. Some people have large sums of capital at their disposal. Others have very little. But if you look around your house and you see all the junk that you have that you don't need, that you could sell off on eBay or Craigslist or numerous other places, buy some silver with it as an insurance policy. Put aside $20 a week, buy some silver dimes. You can do it. And over a period of time, it accumulates. And it's not that you're going to have the ultimate security, because in this world there is no security, let's face it, other than your own security in knowing that you're doing the best that you can and you're somehow following a calling. Outside of that, is there any security?
It's physical and it's tangible, and as you said, you could barter with it among people that have it, and I wouldn't be so concerned with the short-term price fluctuations day to day. There's price fluctuations in everything we do, in gas and food, so this is a fact of life. So
yeah, and hey, getting back to Joe's comment about Facebook, all right, I'm a little older than you guys. I'm 54. I've got grown kids, and they've been into this Facebook thing for years. And Zuckerberg is a Westchester guy, so I feel like a little some kind of simpatico with him because he grew up in my county. But look, you know, when you see the insiders dumping stock, prodigious amounts, when you see a guy like Bono, who is out there trying to help us all, trying to make the world a better place for you and your children, and he makes more money in one day than he has made being the head rocker at U2 for the past 2 decades, then you know something's up. And it's just like when you're at the poker table, and I don't do it because I'm too emotional and too temperamental to be a good poker player, but when you look around and you can't figure out who the sucker is, you know who the sucker is? It's you. And buying Facebook, I don't believe any individual investor is holding that stock now. I think it's all institutions that flipped it back and forth between each other to give the appearance of a market for it, but that the insider, I should say the individual investor, Joe 2-pack, he used to be Joe's 6-pack, but his wealth has gone down by 2/3, and all he can do is buy 2 cans instead of 6. Joe 2-pack ain't buying this. Maybe his pension fund is, all right? Maybe if he still has a mutual fund, they're buying it, but I kind of doubt it. This thing was a raiding party for the insiders, the guys who got in a year and a half ago on the private placement that a certain large financial institution down on Wall Street who will go, they're actually not on Wall Street, they're just west of where the World Trade Center was, the Financial Center, it's called. They just built a large office building there. Their initials are GS, but you didn't hear it from me. This is all about enriching the insiders, and the public investor be damned. It's just another nail in the coffin of our so-called free enterprise system. And what would you pay for Facebook, Joe?
Geez, I don't know, because I don't know what it's really worth. So it's really hard for me to pick a number, because what is this company worth? I don't know. I mean, what were those companies worth in the internet boom? What were they worth after it crashed? I mean, it's kind of arbitrary almost. I mean, it's, I guess, what the market will bear, but I'm not a part of that market.
Yeah. What do you think, Jackie?
What would I pay for Facebook? I don't think I would. I think I'd go out and buy silver.
Hey, good point.
Joe, unpack on Facebook.
Yeah, you know, it's really funny. Like I was saying, my kids have been into this, and I've got a Facebook page, both a personal one, which I don't know why I have it, and I have one for the Financial Survival Network, and I've got fans on there. You can find us there. Everything that gets posted to the blog on financialsurvivalnetwork.com gets a link to Facebook, and I still don't understand what I'm doing there. I see that a certain number of people that found us on Facebook download the show, and that's great, but you know, I don't know. It's not like Google, and there's other real companies out there, Google and eBay, that actually generate wealth, create wealth. I haven't seen wealth creation other than for the insiders yet on Facebook. But the good thing is, what do you really need to know to buy silver, Joe? How much do you really need to know?
There's actually one simple metric. What is the real inflation rate and what is the real interest rate, right? If you put your money in the bank, how much interest will you earn and what is the inflation rate? As long as the money you earn in the bank is less than the inflation rate, gold and silver will be in a bull market. In the 70s and early 80s, the bull market on gold and silver didn't end until Paul Volcker jacked those interest rates up to like 19%, and that ended the bull market because investors could put their money in the bank and they could actually earn interest on their money above the inflation rate. In my opinion, that is the only metric you have to look at to see if we're in a bull market or not. If they can magically raise the interest rates above the inflation rate, see, they can raise interest rates but above the inflation rate. What happens if you get 5% in the bank? Inflation will be what? Probably 10%. If you get 10% interest in the bank, what? Inflation will be 20%. As long as that holds up, in my opinion, gold and silver will be in a bull market. And I don't see how they can magically fix the fact that we have real economic problems. Where is this interest rate going to come from? I don't think it can do it.
Hey, great point. And it's one, actually, believe it or not, I haven't raised much here and on the Financial Survival Network. And this is going back in ancient history for a lot of you out there. But in the 70s, we had tremendous inflation due to the Vietnam War, due to taking the dollar off the gold standard. And there was a guy who was the head of the central bank by the name of Paul Volcker. He looked like he was about 6'10". He smoked cigars, Churchill cigars, which were like as thick as your fist and about 1.5 feet long. And, if you were that guy's son, man, you would do everything right because you would just be scared to death of him. And the bankers were scared of him. The president was scared of him. Everyone was scared of him. And Jimmy Carter, I think, was scared of his own shadow. I don't want to get into politics, but he's just a repulsive, repugnant individual who I have no respect for. But point being, Volcker raised the rates to 20+%. I remember buying Ford general obligation bonds. Well, they're not GO, but just regular Ford bonds that had a coupon of 5%. I was getting 20%. Everybody in the country became a saver, and we actually built wealth because wealth comes from savings. Wealth does not come from consumption. And, there is no Paul Volcker in the country can't afford to pay 20% interest rates. That would immediately decimate the real estate market. You'd be lucky to get 25% of your asking price. There would be no mortgage market. It would become a cash market, which some might argue is not such a bad thing. How would you finance a car at 20%? Everything in this society, because it's so leveraged, would collapse. That's why those 20% interest rates are not coming anytime soon. As far as buying physical metal, Jackie, all right, like when you've bought, how do you buy it? What's the process you go through?
Well, I stay away from numismatic. How do you pronounce it?
Numismatic
coins.
Collectible coins.
Collectible coins.
You will get scammed.
I don't know. I'm just not that informed, and that takes a lot of research and much more due diligence. But so I just go for the eagles or the maple leafs, and you can buy them, mail order, and you can have them shipped to some holding company for you. I'm not going to mention companies.
Yeah, which is a little bit risky. Well, our sponsor, Miles Franklin, okay, they're good people there. Andy Scheckman, David Scheckman, family business, 22 years. I won't say that you could always find the best price there, but the key is when you actually place an order, you get it. All right? I don't trust a lot of these companies that have P.O. boxes in, places. Who knows if you're going to get your silver or not? And then numismatics. I should say that there is a valid market for numismatics. You can make money on it, but you know what? It's like buying and trading classic cars. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get killed. And a lot of these gold and silver places out there are selling or upselling you to numismatics. They make a tremendous markup, 30 to 50 or 100%. You go to sell it, and you take a real hit. That's not to say when gold is 10,000 an ounce, a rising tide will lift all boats. But you could have owned bullion and done a lot better. And just on the note of collectibles, I was a watch collector. When the crash hit, I traded all my watches in for gold and silver, and the watch price recovered. The silver price is roughly triple what I paid. The gold price is almost double. It was higher at one point. So something to keep in mind. So
I think in a crisis, also in a monetary crisis, if that's, one aspect you're looking at, I think, a coin that has, just an eagle on it as opposed to a numismatic, they're going to basically be the same. Would somebody want a numismatic more in that situation? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, what you're kind of referring to is the collectibles market in
Right.
a monetary collapse.
Right.
And I think that most people will be looking to collect food, water, and trying to put gas in their cars. They're not really going to be out there looking for 1933 gold double eagle that's on display at the Federal Reserve that sold for $7.8 million. Yeah, the real wealthy elites will be able to pick up all that stuff at a song, but we're at a lower level here. We're talking about surviving, but if you have enough, you will have so much purchasing power that you'll be able to buy things that you never believed possible. But that's not the goal of this here. The goal is protect your wealth and keep your family safe in troubled economic times. And gold and silver, Joe, right? Is there anything better than gold and silver for doing that throughout history?
The wealthy actually have a formula. It's like 1/3 land, 1/3 fine art, and 1/3 like gold, silver.
That's the Rickards
yes.
formula, right?
Yes, and actually that was in the Rothschilds book. I had a book about the Rothschilds, and that was like in chapter 1 about how they how. But when I say fine art, I don't mean like something like I would buy. Fine art is
Rembrandt's
like multi-million dollar, like that Scream that some guy played for that painting the Scream, millions of dollars, because it's something that people would recognize, like a Mona Lisa. Everybody in the world recognizes that. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about cutting some, baseball card or something.
Yeah, that's a great point. I had a girlfriend who is from a very wealthy family up in Montreal, grew up next to the Bronfman compound, and when I went to her family's home, hanging on the walls was like a painting, and then next to it there'd be a book about that painter with that painting on the front cover. And I said, oh wow, this is different. I mean, I'm the guy who buys the gas station pictures with the black velvet background, and here we are, we're talking works of art by well-known painters, and that's a different thing. What we're talking here is, how does the middle class, upper middle class survive? Because if you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're going to be able to barter your services no matter what. But if you don't have other skills, then you need to have a medium of exchange, and gold and silver. Anyway, guys, Jackie O and Joe, Silver Futurists, thanks so much for being here with me today. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to have you guys on again and again in the future.
Thank you, Curry.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, and it's Kerry Lutz, Financial Survival Network, 1490 WGCH. Have a prosperous week ahead. We'll be back next Tuesday at 11 a.m.